Welcome back.
Welcome back,
Double T. Okay, just let me do it.
Okay.
Welcome back, Double T.
That's so awkward.
Nothing feels right. I know, Cammy's not here, so I'm doing the intro, and then for once, Steff is on our pod instead of us on her show, so she's not doing her intro.
So I don't know how to act.
It's a Mercury Retrograde, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, welcome, Steff. For those of you who don't know, she is the host of the Broke Girl Therapy podcast.
I know, like, there's one side of the show where people know me, they know us.
Yes.
And then there's, like, the other side, I'm sure, that's just like, who the fuck is this vanilla bitch?
No, you're not vanilla.
Well, compared to you guys.
Compared to maybe.
I think Broke Girl Therapy is the vanilla version of double, like, you know?
I can see that.
Like, we're a little bit more vanilla. More demure. Literally, we're very mindful, we're very demure. But Double Team is not demure. Like, you guys go in, you know what I mean?
I know. The lady added me up in a little bit more demure. But anyways, okay, well, for any of our guests that don't know us, I will start off with some icebreakers.
Okay.
So, for starters, what's your favorite place you've had sex?
See, this is vanilla.
What is it?
The bed is just fine, you know? Like, really, like, I don't want to have sex anywhere else. Like, it's fine.
Okay, what's the weirdest place you've had sex?
What is the weirdest place? I feel like okay. It was like, so at Santa Clarita, they have something called the Paseos, which is pretty much like, behind like the homes, there's like a walkway where people walk their dogs. They, you were more in Saugus.
Yeah.
You were more in Saugus. I was in Valencia, the Valencia area.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of like a trail,
Okay.
a walking trail, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And it was Halloween, and I was a very DIY Cleopatra, and I fucked a guy who was Lil Wayne that night. And we fucked in the middle of the Paseos.
What, at nighttime?
Yeah.
Okay.
So in the middle of a walkway.
You didn't get caught?
No.
Nice.
Because technically, like, no one's out at night. you know?
Yeah. It's very suburban.
Yeah, but if it was the middle of the day, it would,
Yeah.
you definitely would have been arrested. But, you know, that was the weirdest thing. But, like, just because it's, like, weird doesn't mean it was good. Like, I'd rather have been in a bed, you know?
I know what you mean though, because sometimes like it's exciting to try new places, but half the time you're so worried about like something going wrong
Yeah.
that you can't even like enjoy the sexual experience.
Right.
Like sex on the beach is like one of the main reasons like why I just have not ever done it, because I'm like, I'm gonna be too worried about getting sand up my cooch. I'm gonna be too worried about someone like coming onto the beach
It's
and like
not demure.
exactly, it's not demure.
It's good. You can say it.
Also, is your mic too high? I'm trying to figure it out.
Oh. I don't know.
Hold on, lower it, like bring it down just a little bit. Oh no, that looks good. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's fine.
I just want to make sure that your face isn't too big.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think today is okay.
Okay.
I've been fingered at the beach. I never had sex at the beach. Yeah, I've been only fingered.
Okay.
My high school boyfriend, I was 15.
Oh wow.
I know,
That's adventurous.
I was a very horny, like, I was hornier than my friends at like 15 years old. Like, I'm pretty sure I was the first one to fuck.
I was too. Yeah.
And the first one to drag him. Yeah, but I was always like, I think I low-key wish I was like fucking everyone, but because it was like not socially acceptable, I like had a boyfriend, you know?
Mhm.
And whatever, but yeah.
No, I was the first one in my friend group to have sex, and so then they were all like, "What is it like?" And I'm like,
Oh.
you know.
And I mean, I feel like to this day, you're always like that person. People are like, what is it like? And they go to you because you've experienced it first or experienced, you know.
Oh, I guess. Oh, you know what? That's
You're
a good
still that person. It like tracks. Like, I'm not surprised, you know.
Thank you. I surprisingly though, I wasn't the first to masturbate. So.
Oh, really?
No,
Demi?
Yeah,
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, 50 times a day.
I know. We've talked about that on your pod. Yeah, shit.
Which I'm like, I think about that kind of often in a sense of like, so was she nutting? Like, was she orgasming like 15 times that day? Because that's very impressive.
That is impressive. Honestly, my clit would fall.
Right. And like, it also, like, it's I ever just, like, I feel like I would be so tired.
Yes. It
You
is
know?
exhausting. And like it's an ab workout.
Right.
And if you're doing it like with your hands, that's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I know that she was in college at that time. So I'm like, especially in college, like you have so much to do. Like I remember being tired all the time just from like working and going to class and then not adding 15 times a day to masturbate. Like,
I don't know how she did it.
yeah.
Wait, what's the weirdest place you masturbated?
In my friend's bed. We both like because she wanted to masturbate and she's like, can you just like masturbate with me? Like I feel weird. Like if I'm just here.
Oh, so y'all masturbated together.
We were like 14.
What?
Yeah. And so we did a shout out. You know who you are. She's still my best friend.
Really?
Yeah, we're still.
And it didn't feel weird?
You know, I feel like if we did it now, it'd be weird. Like I wouldn't want to do that now, but
Yeah.
But I mean, back then it was just like, sure, yeah. I feel like you know when you're like 14 and you're like figuring stuff out, you know, and like you and your friends just like talk about it. Like I remember me and my friends, like one of my best friends, like we used to shower together, like very innocently. It wasn't like we were 14, but then she would like show me the shower head. And so she would do it, and she's like, yeah, this is what you do. It feels so good. And so we would take turns.
You know, the first time I ever learned about the shower head, trick was actually from my boss in high school. I worked at Famous Footwear, and my boss, he was like, maybe
Is that appropriate?
I don't know, but well, I don't know. Well, let me explain the story. So, I was like 17, 18. I think he was like probably mid-20s, upper 20s. Anyways, and he was like, I met this girl and she like sent me a video last night. And I was like, what did she send you a video of? And he was like, she was using the shower head. And I was like, to do what? And he was like,
yeah.
And he was like, to get off. And I was like, oh. He was like, yeah. He was like,
more professional, they're better.
yeah. He was like, I've never had someone send that to me before. And it was like, okay. And then that was kind of the extent of conversation. So I don't know if it was like super inappropriate, but like,
It kind of is. Because like, it's like,
yeah.
And
we left it at that.
Yeah.
And then after that, I was like, well, I don't know what this shower head thing is all about. So then, no, we have to try. But at my parents' house, we had like a fixed one. So then I just waited until the next time I was at like a hotel and they had like a.
Yeah. Well, I guess it wasn't the shower. It was like the faucet. You know?
Oh, yeah.
You had
faucet. Yeah.
Yeah, it was the faucet. So
You just like.
yeah. So she was like crouched underneath and was doing it. And so then I like, was like, all right, sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's like something about just like coming of age where you just talk about it and you're just like, so comfortable. But now as an adult, it's like, I don't know.
I mean, I remember the first time we watched porn was it was like 3 or 4 of us, our friends, and we were all like, what is this?
Same mud.
Wow. That was the first time we watched porn.
I used to watch porn with my friends too. I remember, and I even had like one good guy friend, and we would watch porn together. And I remember, like, I looked over and he had a boner, and I was like, "Tori, you got a boner?" And he was like all embarrassed, and I was saying his name, Tori.
I can believe it out of it.
It's fine. I don't even know where he is.
You don't know, yeah. He's some random guy seen twice.
Yes.
I love it. I feel like I learned so much about you.
Yeah, we got it.
Okay, well, now I hope everyone feels like they know Steff now.
But
I don't think you're that vanilla. But anyways,
I'm
I feel like you're curious about a lot of things.
Yes.
And, maybe you haven't always tried them, but like, I feel like you're at least open-minded to things.
for sure.
Like, I've told you so many of my kinks and you've never been like, that's fucking weird, you're gross.
Oh, no.
You've always just been like, okay, interesting. Like, I think you're very open-minded.
For sure. And I don't think vanilla is like a bad thing.
It's not,
like
no.
but I just think that like sometimes I'm so okay with just doing
The
the most. Yeah. Like it's, like I have moments where I want to do the most, and I have moments where I'm like, I just want to just do my shit. Right?
Yeah. I know, yeah, I've always found you very open-minded. And then obviously, like, now you and your boo are doing more of an open thing. So
Yeah.
you're open-minded. Just even, yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's not like the most vanilla thing. But even as like someone who is, I guess now technically in a non-monogamy world, I still feel like I'm doing it in a vanilla way.
I don't think you are.
Really? Okay, maybe I'm just hard on myself.
I do think you're very yourself, but I also think like, and this is, what I want to talk about today, was that like, I love the approach that you two have taken into this. And as someone who has, been in the non-monogamy space for 7+ years and who has, tried all the things, I feel like I've tried everything in non-monogamy.
Yeah.
Like, seeing y'all's approach, I'm like, I wish that that's how I had done it in the past, because like you guys have just really taken your time with it and like really sat with stuff, because like so often, and I think, Kaylee and I kind of briefly touched on this in another episode. It's like as soon as everyone's got the green light, they're like, let's fucking go.
Yeah. They
Book
go
3
hard.
trips
Right.
with like your new lovers. Go have 4 threesomes. Like go to every sex party you can find in the vicinity, and then all of a sudden everyone's just like freaking the fuck out because like they're forced to face all these like really tough emotions, and all of a sudden all at once, and they're not giving themselves any time to just like sit with everything. So I remember like, you guys, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but like, you learned a lot about it from us, and then you kind of sat with it, and then it wasn't like until like a year later that you were like, okay, let's try it out. Yeah. And then even then, like he slowly like got in the dating apps and like started chatting with some people, didn't meet with someone until I was like a couple months later, I think it was.
Yeah, like it was not right away, because he wasn't like super actively on it. It was just kind of like a casual thing. And
yeah,
find someone you connected with. Yeah.
But I want to know, so like what was why did you guys decide to take it at the pace that you did, which by the way I champion?
Yeah, I think honestly it wasn't like intentional.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think even just with our relationship and how I would approached it just with dating him, I've always just wanted to like embrace each stage and just take our time, Like when we were dating, I did feel like very rushed, like, oh my God, we got the Japanese relationship and do all these things. And then that always like really made me nervous. And so I would tell myself like, no, just get to know him, like create a friendship, and then see if like, the partnership, the relationship blossoms. And like, that's, how our relationship really started. It was the fact that I was like willing to just take my time and not rush anything.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what was unintentionally happening when we decided to be open.
What's your Venus? And hold on, I'm gonna look at your chart.
I think my Venus is Aquarius.
Because you're an Aries rising like me, and I feel like Aries risings, we always just speed everything the fuck.
And I've done that in the past.
Okay, so you wanted to correct that. Your Venus is Aquarius, that's why.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and he's a Cancer, so he was very much just like, I felt it, and I knew that he was like willing to just like at least marry me right away. Like he was so all in, and I loved that, but I also was like, oh, wait. So I definitely had to. I even broke up with him at one point, and then we started things back up, and I was just very much vocal about the pace that I wanted to go. And one of the things that made me fall in love with him was the fact that he was willing to match that, even though I know he wanted to like speed things up because he was ready, but I think he was willing to because it was worth it,
Yeah.
So I think that just kind of led in to us wanting to open up a relationship, is that because we've always pretty been at that pace.
Mm-hmm.
So and so like as soon as you guys were such a big inspiration to that. I mean, before meeting you guys, I was always curious and would see stuff online and be like, oh my God, and just be fascinated, and would kind of put myself in that position. And I think at one point I was like, oh my God, I could never, but like I like love seeing this with everyone else, then as soon as like me and Brian's relationship even blossomed, and our trust was just like so good, and our communication was so good, I was started to realize that, oh wait, I think this dynamic that I have with Brian could work. Like I don't think it could have worked with my exes, because there was always so much lack of communication and anxiety, and like I don't know where we stand, and so I think that just, and I would get so jealous, and I'm not the most jealous person. Like I've experienced jealousy, but I don't think it's really like one of my biggest traits about me. So I knew that it was like a little out of character. Mm-hmm. But if I'm really comfortable with someone, like I don't really experience jealousy, especially like, and I know that because in my first relationship that I was in from 15 to 20 years old for 5 years, and I was not a jealous person.
Mm-hmm.
So
he made you feel safe.
He made me feel safe, but then dudes that dated after him, I was always like on edge.
Yeah.
So I knew that it was right with Brian, because I was back to who I was, where I was like, oh, I'm not that girl, you know?
I love that.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think the safety factor is like a huge piece of it too, because, and that's another thing that I always like see with people that are wanting to open up. And I'm like, well, do you like make your partner feel safe? Because like, that was the big reason why I did it with my,
Yeah, because you trusted him.
yeah, I trusted him. We had great communication, great safety. Like he made me feel safe. And so I was like, okay, let's do this, and now one of the reasons why like I want something to start off more monogamous again is because I want to establish that safety with someone. Like you really do need to have that safety, and I remember I used to think in the past, I'm like, oh yeah, you can totally start a brand new relationship completely non-monogamous, and you're still like seeing other people and casually sleeping around, whatever. But like, I think I realized throughout the years that I was like, no, you can't necessarily do that just because like you do need some time to establish that safety.
Right.
Nothing against the people that do enter.
Yeah, it's a certain personality type that could do that. But then when you realize, oh wait, I don't think I'm that person.
Yeah.
It's okay to accept that,
Yeah, and like, take some time to go back and establish that trust, safety, whatever you need it. But yeah, no, I love that. With your explanation, it does make a lot of sense too.
Yeah.
And now, like, I mean, how long would you say you guys have been doing this?
I mean,
It's been over a year. I know that.
definitely been over a year. Because I would say like it really kind of like started heightening up was around the San Francisco live show that we did.
Yeah, because that was the first time I met with the girl.
Yes, it's literally the day after the show, which was not planned. It just happened that way.
Mm-hmm.
And, I just realized like how much I loved it. And even when we're having sex, it's the thing that always just instantly gets me like off. If I think sometimes I have to like not think about it for a second because I will instantly come and I need to like relax.
Thinking about him with another woman gets you off.
Gets me so like I get horny instantly.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so to the point where it's like I've had to sometimes think about it later on in the session, because as soon as I like think about it and say it out loud to him, I like come instantly. Like I can't control, like it's just like an instant orgasm for me.
And this is another piece that's always been so fascinating about y'all's relationship to me, is that like you haven't even done anything with anyone else.
No, yeah.
And I mean, he has, not much, but like he has. And so do you know how many people like will not do this if it is not completely even across the board? And they want it to just be like, if she's sleeping with someone, I'm gonna go sleep with someone. If he's sleeping with someone, I'm gonna go sleep with someone. And the fact that both of you, like, you're able to just be like, no, this is like, I like this, I enjoy this, and like, I don't need, another dick or another woman or whatever. Like, I just think that it shows so much for like not only your ego, but like who you are as a person, and also on his side too. Yeah, he's not rushing into anything to get a bunch of validation. He's not like wanting just like a bunch of like
bitches.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like he's not like
so. But instead of both of you are just like, this is what I like about it. This is what like it's fun for me, and then you take the
because I think the first priority is our relationship.
Yeah,
and then the open relationship is second.
Yeah.
So it's like I think when people like rush into it, I mean, I don't know. I'm just assuming because I don't know what it's like to be that, but I think it's just like, oh, like they get so excited, like, and I understand that because maybe they've been deprived or whatever it is, but with us, it's like, it's an add-on, and so we prioritize us first. Like, for instance, I remember he had a date planned with this girl he's been talking to, but we were like kind of fighting a lot that week. And so he canceled the plan. He was like,
did you ask him to?
No, he just told me.
Oh, okay.
And he was like, I canceled with so-and-so because, we've been kind of having maybe a rough week. So I don't want to go on a date when we're not good, So I think it's just like making sure like we're, I know he's the sweetest. Like just making sure we're solid first before he even just entertains that, So I think that's what it's been helpful for me to even feel like validated. Because if he was like doing that and and not that I was even thinking of even having him cancel, like it wasn't even on my mind, but maybe if he did, let's say he did, and I'm at home like kind of annoyed from him because we've had whatever a rough week, it probably would have affected me,
Yeah.
And so I feel really good and validated that even without me asking.
That he did that.
He did that, you know?
No, I
So-
agree, because he was thinking about, like, not only y'all's relationship and upholding it, but probably also your feelings. And
Exactly. And so he's just, I mean, Friday, she's like so special in that way. So, yeah. And so, yeah, it's just,
I love that. And I mean, because obviously, since my divorce, I've been reflecting a lot on my non-monogamous journey, especially now that, like, going back into monogamy and everything, which, you know, I'm, like, thrilled to do. It's fascinating to me because, like, I think back on it and, like, yes, there were a lot of things that we did right, but obviously there were a lot of, you know, areas where, like, when I look back, I'm like, oh, you know, I have a different perspective on it. And correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds like for you guys at least, like, do you feel like he checks all your boxes, like, without the non-monogamy stuff?
oh, yeah.
Exactly.
Like,
And I'm not saying that, like, my ex-husband did. Sometimes, like, I think back to our physical intimacy and, like, it was good. And like, I thought it was, like, at a really good spot until we opened up. And then I realized that, like, we were actually we had a lot of differences in what we liked in the bedroom. And opening up, and it helped that because, I got to discover a lot and explore a lot. And so did he. And, you know, like, I remember when he met his girlfriend, he had, like, a lot of really great sexual intimacy with her. And I think we both, especially towards the end, had a realization of, like, how much our sexual differences became a factor.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I don't want to say that, like, he didn't check that box, but it was one of those situations where it's like, I met other people that checked that box so much more.
Right.
In a way that kind of showed me that, like, maybe, because our marriage was so much based, like, on our friendship. We just loved each other and cared for each other and really supported each other. There was, like, just such a strong foundation of friendship. And the sex was, like, good. And so we never really, like, thought it was an issue.
Right.
And then once we opened up, and that's where, like, you know, I probably rushed things sometimes because I got so excited at, like, you know, finally getting, like, what I wanted sexually, and I think staying on his side. And so, and there were times where we probably rushed things because of that, or, like, you know, kind of, like, took too much on at once,
Right.
because of those differences. And so, yeah, I could see how, like, that could be a factor too.
I mean, I think, like, I mean, our sex life isn't perfect. Like,
Yeah.
if I think, like, I think I'm mostly satisfied in it. And I think he's actually a lot more, like, kinkier and has, like, a lot more curiosities than me, to be honest. Like I said, I think I'm a lot more simple when it comes to sex, and I think that's why I kind of want him to like have sex with other people, because I want him to explore that. Like, what does that look like for him, you know? And so there is, you know, that thought in my mind that came across of, like, what if someone else is, like, sexually more compatible, you know? But I think
that it sounded, because when I look back on mine, I'm like, we had a lot more differences than we realized, like, a lot more. And, you know, and where I was saying where you're more open-minded, you know, there were, like, some things that maybe, like, he wasn't, like, you know, there wasn't as much open-mindedness, and which was fine since we had an open relationship. I could go explore with other people, you know, but it was just,
he wasn't as, like, open to certain things. Yeah.
But I also think, I mean, I don't know, the way that you guys have described your relationship and, you know, like,
Right.
your physical.
And you know, like, the biggest fear that people have with non-monogamy, obviously, is that they leave you for someone else. And of course, like, I've had those discussions with him, and I've also had those discussions with myself.
Yeah.
And although, I know it would, like, break my heart, I would obviously be very upset, but if he found happiness with someone else and felt like he would live a better life with them, you know, I think I love him enough to let him have that, you know? And it doesn't really, like, say anything about me, because it's not about, like, oh, I didn't offer enough. I think I'm at this point with myself where it's like, I know I'm enough, but it's okay if he finds that was something, you know what I mean? It's not like she's,
No, I understand.
I don't know how to, like, articulate that, but it's just,
No,
it doesn't take away from who I am, you know?
Absolutely.
So, and I love him so much, like, unconditionally, that I would want that for him, you know? And
That's
so-
exactly how I felt with my ex-husband.
Yeah.
Also, congrats, secure attachment. Love it.
I know. It took a lot, and that's the thing, he brings that secure attachment out of me,
Yeah.
you know? That's why I'm able to do with him versus guys who have made me feel so much more anxious. It's like, I couldn't,
Yeah.
it just wouldn't work because there is a crazy side of,
I mean, my ex-husband brought out my secure attachment as well.
yeah.
But I agree, whenever we were ending our relationship, like, obviously one of the big factors was at the time that he was ready to start a family and I wasn't.
Yeah.
Another factor being, him and his girlfriend were ready to start their family together and it just started to look too messy. But, I also, as painful as it was and as traumatizing as it was in a lot of ways,
I wanted to have that.
Exactly. I had that same mindset. I love him unconditionally. I just want him to be happy. It doesn't take away from my value at all. And at the end of the day, like, I want him to be like with whoever it is that's going to make him the happiest. And I knew that, the two of them kind of checked a lot of boxes for each other at the time. And so and that's why, like, I don't hold it against him. I don't, I don't sit there and think like, oh, he, left me, whatever. I think, it didn't help my abandonment one, but at the same time, I think a lot of that isn't just more body based, where like, my body doesn't want to experience that pain again. And that's where the trauma comes from. But my mind can completely rationalize and understand that, like, at the end of the day, he chose his happiness. I'm proud of him for that. I appreciate him for that. I still love him. I still respect him. And I'm just happy that he's happy. And I'm happy too.
Yeah.
But my body's like, we don't want to go through that again. So
right. Yeah.
It's an itch space.
Yeah. It's as a human, you're going to experience those things. Yeah. But it takes a certain level. Like, mindset is like everything, and so it'll, I don't know, like, I'm not against like doing the work and trying to heal. I don't know. I feel like maybe because I've been heartbroken so many times that I'm like, I know I'll be fine because I've like survived so many times.
Yeah.
It's to the point where it's like, I feel, Brian leaves me. It's like, I know, I'll be fucking brokenhearted, but I will survive. I'll be fine.
Yeah.
And I also think I believe in our bond so much.
Yeah.
That it's like, if it takes, if another person is willing to, make, what's that word? If another person, if he has a bond that's stronger than ours that I already know is like super strong, I'm like, damn, like that's, like go for that. That's, it takes my mind is too fast right now. But it would just take a lot for him, I think, to like leave me for someone. And if he does, then that connection's fucking strong, So that's why I'm like,
but I think it's great that like you've had that discussion and have like discussed that hypothetical.
Yeah.
Because that is one that you should also discuss when you're opening up, because like it is a very real possibility.
For sure.
And I think like for me, we discussed that possibility as well. And I remember, and I always knew that it would probably be over someone that wanted to give him children.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. And I knew that. And I think that's, what ended up happening. And that's okay.
So Cami and I are hosting a little birthday sex party coming up, Libra season. And of course, we're thinking, okay, the men are going to need something to keep up all night.
Exactly. They're going to need some joy mode. For sure.
Yeah, we're going to bring a couple baggies of joy mode, set it out amongst all the snacks and the drinks. That way, for anyone that needs just a little boost to get that energy going, enhance their performance, put it in a drink, chug it, and then they're ready to go all night.
And our guy friends that have been using joy mode really do enjoy it.
Yeah.
There is joy in joy mode. So go to usejoymode.com and use code DOUBLETEAM to get 20% off. Again, that's go to usejoymode.com and use code DOUBLETEAM for 20% off.
And it's funny because now like I find myself considering children more. And I remember I texted him once, and this was a while back, and I was like, it feels like the biggest betrayal for me to even think that maybe in the future I'll want kids when I, couldn't give that to you. And he told me, he was like, I don't think it is. But he had mentioned that, like, he was like, we never saw that with each other. It doesn't mean that you can't see it with someone else.
It's very true. Like, it's not something you saw with him. Like, doesn't mean it takes away from his value as
Yeah.
a man or the relationship. It just wasn't, you know.
But I struggle with that because I'm like, I ended what was a really great marriage. Or no, we did, because I mean, he was on that battle for divorce.
Yeah.
But like, we both ended a relationship that was really great and really strong and really healthy over, you know, the timing of something. But, you know, even if we had waited until I was ready, I don't think, I never saw that with him. And he never,
Yeah. And I think you needed to go through scary things too. And I think he needed to go through like a different journey as well.
Yeah.
So like, okay. I'm just such a firm believer, like whatever's meant to happen will happen, you know?
I am too. Yeah.
So I just like trust by that.
Yeah.
You know?
It's hard sometimes to,
Maybe it was meant to have kids with this person because
Yeah.
whatever child is coming out was meant to be here. You
yeah.
know, for-
No, I think he did. Yeah. And I'm, like I said, at the end of the day, I'm happy that, you know, he went that
just hurts a little bit sometimes.
It does.
Yeah.
But I like what you said about like surviving it, because sometimes, like, you know, I remember there would be times where I was like bawling my eyes out. I looked a mess and I would just like take a selfie. And then sometimes I'd go back and look at that and be like, I survived that. You know, all that pain, I got there and I'm still smiling today. And so that was like and actually I was like going through my pictures today and deleting some old ones that I was like, it's time to let these go. And I ran across one of those and I was like looking at it and I was like, oh wow, yeah, I did survive that, you know?
It's like a nice little reminder.
Yeah.
Yeah. I used to do voice notes. I still have them on my phone. I can't listen to them. But definitely like when I was going through my last breakup, instead of like calling him, I would just leave voice notes as if I was on the phone with him.
Yeah. Oh, I
And
like
that really
that.
helped. Yeah. And so now I just have all these like voice notes and be like, you know, crying hysterically. But
Sometimes I journal, you know this.
yeah.
And sometimes like I go back and read like how like heartbroken I was over someone, and half the time I'm like,
You know what? Right? No, I've seen like notes on my phone where I'm like, you know, going off on a dude. And I'm like, who was that? Like, I don't remember, you know? And I'm like, that's a good feeling to have because I'm not like being triggered or so upset. Like,
Yeah.
I moved on, like, you know?
or you're like, wow, I was hungover with that guy that much.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
It's like, it's weird. Yeah.
Yeah. That's like, it's funny though. Okay, so now where are you guys at in your like non-monogamous journey?
Yeah. So
classify that?
Brian's talking to somebody. They go on dates quite often. There was a point where it was like he was taking her out to dinner, and I was just like, okay, if you're gonna take her out to dinner, you can take me out to dinner too, you know?
Oh, I'm like,
So-
well, especially because like you guys live together, so you
Yeah.
start falling into like the domestic.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I was like, kind of had to remind him to like, you also need to take me out on dates. Like, it's not just,
Oh, it did.
you know, and he did. And not even just, you know, you did it. He was like, okay, like, and we went out, and I think moving forward, he's gonna try to make sure to like be mindful of that, you know?
Yeah.
But
Good on you for communicating it.
yeah, I was just kind of like, well, like, where are my dates? Like, she's going to Korean barbecue, she's going to sushi. Like, I want sushi, you know? Like, yeah, like, and I was like jealous because he was like spending time with other girls. I was just kind of like, damn, like, I want sushi, like, you know?
No, exactly. No,
So, like, I was just like, fuck, you're gonna go out to eat with her? Like, I want to go out to eat, you know? So,
that's funny.
yeah, so it was, I communicated that. It was no big deal. But yeah, it's just, they've been talking. They're really at like a very slow pace.
And that's good.
Yeah, and I think just because Brian, you know, he also just doesn't want to just like fuck just to fuck, but he wants to make sure that not only does he respect our relationship, but respect her and her time.
Mm-hmm.
So he obviously just wants to build a trust and a friendship and make sure that they're in a place where, you know, safety, you know?
Yeah.
And so, but he's been very honest with her, so she knows,
Yeah.
you know, about us. The only thing though is that I think what's also kind of slowing him down is like, I think she's also like talking to someone else. It's kind of like a situationship. So Brian's just
Oh,
kind
I
of,
remember you told me about
yeah,
this.
it's kind of been feeling it out and not trying to like cause any drama because the last thing we need is like
Yeah.
problems, you know?
Yeah.
And so I think he's just been kind of filling it out. But the last time they went on a date, they like made out and he like touched her tits. So I was like, oh my God. And so like, I was so excited. He came home, I was like, we kissed. I was like, oh my God. And I had him like tell me, I'm like the type of person, like I need the details. So I had him like literally tell me like how, like reenact it to a point where I was like, kiss me how you kissed her. Like, I want to know, you know?
Yeah.
And so he's just like, oh, he's like rolling his eyes. He's like, oh, you would, you know? So,
I love that.
yeah, he like reenacted it for me and stuff. And so she afterwards is like, oh my God, you should like text her, tell her that like you like to kiss, you know? And he's like, yeah. And so, but she texted him first and she's like, that was really hot.
Yeah.
Like I, like, damn, you know, kind of, it was like a tease, you know, like now she's definitely like wanting more. But even before that, they've been like, they definitely have like, been sending very, like she sends a lot of like photos of her in, like lingerie because he loves that. Like he loves being sent photos. And I used to do it in the other relationship, but I feel like when you live together,
Yeah.
I probably should step it up. I should probably step it up. But she just has them on that, you know what I mean? Like, so she was sending them.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so-
you know, when you're single, you usually do.
yeah, exactly. Like you do it more when you're single. When you're in a relationship, sometimes you kind of forget. You have to like remind yourself.
I know.
And so, yeah, so she just has them on deck. And, you know, and I'm like, so glad. Like, I'm so happy for him because now it's like, you know, he has like these things to like look at and
Yeah.
get him off. And so they like, he'll, you know, flirt with her and stuff. And like, I have him like read his text messages to me. So I'm just like, and like now sometimes we foreplay.
Okay. Yeah.
And then we'll actually be, what did she say? Like, what did she say you? Like, what did you respond? And it like gets me horny when it's like, he says something horny to her, you know, like something that she looks good or whatever, and like compliments her. And I'm like, oh, that's so hot. And then, I don't know. And then I'm like, I'll actually, I've never even said this on my pod, but like when we have sex, I like have to pretend I'm her.
Oh.
Is that crazy?
Oh, that's crazy.
Okay. I'd be like, pretend I'm so and so.
No, it's like role playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, you're fucking her. Right? You're not fucking me. You're fucking her.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, yeah.
That sounds hot.
Yeah, it was. It was very hot. And
It's
so,
not vanilla.
like, oh, my feet is in the frame. Oh my God. No,
You're
don't.
fine. I can take your feet out.
Okay, thank you. Just censor it. Just put the emoji, right? Emoji. Just put the feet emoji over it. But yeah, and so like I'll pretend that I'm her. Oh my God, if she ever like comes across this podcast, sorry, girl. I don't even like know it. She's just like, whoa, this Kurt's girlfriend's really playing this up.
Wait, but do you know? What do you know? Does she know? What do you know about each other? What's her sign?
I don't know her side actually.
Okay.
Which is weird. I should ask Brian. But she's, you know, she's single. She's kind of just like, she's very in tune with her sexuality,
Love that.
you know, and so, and I feel like she's been very like respectful
Yeah.
so far, you know, of the relationship. Like he definitely, you know,
No, that's important.
yeah,
Yeah, I agree. You always want, and that's another thing, because I've been that girl
yeah,
to many couples, and that was always my priority, is making sure that like the primary
Right.
woman, partner, whatever, feels as if like I'm also upholding the relationship and like being respectful, because like otherwise it's not gonna work.
exactly.
So you have to make them feel safe and, you know, show gratitude and like show
Right.
respect and all of that. So yeah.
For sure. So she definitely, you know, yeah, she's been very, and I give it up to Brian because he creates those boundaries and he's been very transparent with her. So it's like she knows how to move, you know,
Yeah.
because like he's creating that space. So like I'm just grateful for that. So yeah, I mean it's going great so far. I am like taking a trip to Jamaica
Mm-hmm.
in a few days, and so I'm gonna be gone for like a week. And I'm like, oh, God. It's like you should invite her over. I was like, this is the time. I would be out of the house. Like, usually when I go on the dates, and like I'm at home, I'm like, what if they like?
Yeah.
This is weird. Like, and I don't think I'm like ready for that. Even though I do fantasize about like hearing them have sex, I'm like, I don't think I'm there yet.
No, that's, yeah,
You know?
go slow into that.
Right. So I'm like, I'm not there yet. So I don't think I would want them to come over. But if I'm gone,
Yeah.
like bring her
Bring her
over.
over,
Like
yeah.
let's, you know, like let's set the scene. Let's do it. Like,
I love that.
you know, and so I think he's Satan. Listen to birthday read here what happens. But
We'll see. Part two.
but yeah, and so he's gonna reach out to her and have her, you know, come over. So I'm really excited about
Okay, so but this will be the first time you'll like sleep with someone, right?
Yeah, because he hasn't. The other girl that he's talking to, they didn't have sex. So
And how are you preparing yourself?
excited. I'm so excited. I'm like finally. If I feel like too slow, like fuck, like come on. But like we've been, you know what I mean? Like we've been like talking about this. So yeah, like that's, I want that to happen because I could tell she really wants to fuck him, and I could tell like he really wants to fuck her. And so I'm like, stupid. So yeah, I'm like, maybe I'm way too excited. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I don't think so.
Like it's sometimes I'm like, damn, like I never thought this would be like me.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I remember like when my ex-husband met his girlfriend and they were like falling in love with each other. Like I remember I was like I loved watching like the love and the care between them, even when they would like argue and like make up and like I could
I don't know if I'm ready for, but
yeah, no, you gotta warm up to that.
Yeah.
But like I just remember, it's such an interesting feeling that for someone. I know they call it conversion.
Yeah.
Where you feel happiness for your partner. And like it's very much a thing. It's very beautiful, but it does take a lot of work to get there. And like I think about now, like in my, I realize now that because of like my marriage ending and everything that I went through with that like it will probably be a very long time before I get to a place where I'm secure again to experience that. I know I'm capable of it, but I would like the amount of safety that I would need with someone, it would be so much that I just don't know if I'll experience it again.
Yeah.
Who knows? Or like when I'll be ready for it, whatever. But it's great to see like when you are capable of that yourself.
Yeah. And I will say like maybe the downfall of, I don't want to call it the downfall, but like, what is it? Like an obstacle that we're gonna have to like kind of face is when now I'm ready to go out.
Yes.
Because he doesn't have that kink, and so it's gonna be
different. He might not, different. Yeah, he probably won't want the details.
Yeah, and it's like I know that he's definitely not gonna be like, and we've talked about it, and he said, he'd be happy for me. He would want obviously communication, validation, all those things.
Mm-hmm.
But it's more so me. Like before, for those who are new here at Brooklyn Tech, before Brian, and when I was single and having sex, my relationship with sex was very different. Like it was not different, but I just, carried a lot of shame. I would get attached very easily. I didn't know how to just kind of like do it for fun. And if I did, there was always like a sense of guilt that would happen. So for me, it's like, I kind of have to have some sort of connection. Like, I think I'm a little bit of a demisexual.
Yeah, that's fine.
And so I have to be mentally stimulated. I have to have some sort of feeling and safety with this person. So that's going to like have to build. And I think, I'm scared sometimes to tap into her. And I think maybe that's not the whole reason, but a part of the reason why I haven't yet, is it's going to take, right now I feel like I'm just mastering him doing it and us even opening the relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And then another level of that is going to be, okay, me coming to terms with my sexuality and being comfortable with that. Because I'm open-minded. I talk about all this stuff, but when I'm in it, it's different, And so I'm like sometimes scared to develop feelings for someone else, like how is that going to look like? And am I okay with that? And how do I communicate that? And who would I even want to fuck, like.
I will say this, because I completely understand wanting to have a connection with someone, but when I was in my open relationship and my ex-husband took care of so many of my emotional needs, it wasn't like when I was looking for my emotional needs to get taken care of. So I didn't fall for a lot of people. I would just I would be able to develop really great friendships with them and have a connection where it's I care about this person and they're really cool and we have a great time.
But I have sex with them.
But I have the romantic piece taken care of. So I do understand that concern, but at the same time, know that like you will be at a different point too, because you're not looking for your emotional needs to be satisfied.
For sure. Because before it was like, I was just, again, my anxious attachment style, I was just trying to like hold on to something and fall in love and wanting that like thing, you know?
Yeah.
But you're right. Like I'm a completely different person now. Like I've grown.
Yeah.
And so I think, yeah, no, like that's what people have been telling me. So I'm mindful of that. But, you know, it's still kind of like
Yeah.
but it's almost like maybe I just need to just make out with someone in the club and just rip the Band-Aid off almost, you know?
I know, it's very exciting. What if you meet some little hottie out at a bar in Jamaica? Like,
I think it's not like
share a little kiss. Like,
I'm allowed to do so. Okay. And if anything, I feel like that might be ideal for me. The only thing is it's like, it's pleasure, but also work related. So, and they know I have a boyfriend, but they don't know I'm like in an open relationship. So I don't want people thinking like, Steff's out here being shady, like cheating on her man, you know? And I'm like, oh, so I'll have to like, if it happens, I'll have to be a little bit more secretive about it. But I mean, we'll see. It's not like my priority because again, it's work. But I think maybe that's what just needs to happen. It's just like, I need to make out with someone, just whatever, rip that Band-Aid and like, you know, I think right now it's because, you know, when you think about something too much before doing something, that might be like what I'm experiencing right now.
Yeah, because then you kind of get to like a paralysis almost.
Yeah, and you're like,
right. Yeah.
So I just probably just need to let loose and just like out someone.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe a girl, so like they wouldn't think I'm cheating. I'm just being a drunk whore. You know what I mean? It's like girls make out when they're drunk, and everyone's just kind of just like there's a like bat an eye to it.
Yeah.
But if I'm doing it with a guy, they'd be like, "Oh my god, she has a boyfriend at home. She's cheating," you know. So I don't know. I'm down to make out with girls, so like I'm down to make out. We'll see.
I like seeing girls, obviously.
Yeah, because like it's like so. We'll see. We'll see what happens in Jamaica.
I love that. Okay.
If anything happens.
Well, I want to know what happens with
right. Like he's
I
mean, that's more. Yeah. So we'll see.
if something happens. That'd be so exciting.
I know.
Yeah.
Like I can't wait.
But it has been, you guys have been open for over a year.
Yeah, no, for sure over a year. Maybe like
year and a half.
The conversation really started happening like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
If I'm really
I think it's pretty fair. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's been a very slow pace, but I think it's what's good even for me. Because again, like I think I need to be at a slower pace for a lot of things.
No, like I said, I really like have looked at the way that you guys have approached it, and I've been so proud. And you know, I always thought to myself, like, if I ever, you know, want to go back to non-monogamy, like that's the approach that I will take.
Oh my god, what? Am I influencing you now?
Yes.
This is crazy. That is. Okay.
Well, you know, and because like I was telling my partner, you know, like I told him in the beginning, I'm like, I want this to start off monogamous, but like I say,
if to say wrap up, does that mean you have to wrap up?
Oh, I don't know, because that one's always been there. How much longer we have left?
You have 5 minutes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's
Is the third about?
Well.
Gotcha. Okay. See, that's better. That's a lot more.
Yeah, that's like okay.
Anyways, you know, I want to try monogamous, but like I get invited to a ton of play parties, and like you know,
okay,
and I'm good, and he's cool with me going, and you know, but like not playing, and like I'm good with that, and that's what I prefer. But it's just like it's interesting trying to like detangle myself from my like non-monogamous kind of things, because I've just been so used to it for so long, and it's like I really do want to be so intentional and at such like a good pace if I do start to like reintroduce those things back into my life.
Yeah.
Does
it feel weird like now changing that lifestyle that was so prevalent in the last couple of years for you?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, and I'll get into it more later.
That's another episode.
It's all of this.
That's
yeah. But I think my last question for you is going to be like, what do you think? You know, if you could paint your like ideal scenario in an open relationship for you and Brian, like what does that look like?
I think for him to have someone you could just call anytime, you know, and she's like willing, and they have this very understanding relationship, and they like get to explore, do all the things, and also like maybe them 3 seconds, you know, like also like I could join in too when I'm ready. But like that would be ideal to feel that comfortable with someone to be able to do it all together.
Yeah.
And then for me, I don't know. You know what? I don't know if I would want like a side person. I think I'll figure out later.
Okay.
But ideally for that and for Brian, that's what I would want.
Okay. So I love that, you know, like it's still kind of TBD in a way because sometimes you don't really know until you kind of like get further into it and, you know, then you're like, okay.
Yeah,
I think this
I
is-
know what I want.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
For sure. So we'll see. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. No, but really, you know, I know I've said it, but I really am so proud of you guys. I think it's great. I'm just happy to see in the ways that like you know, I remember the first time I called you, whenever the first time that he went out and like, I thought you were handling it so great. And like,
Thanks.
you know,
It was like just wanting to have a meltdown of anxiety.
I know, but you're still just like very aware and very like mature about it all and like not freaking out and not like getting upset at him or anything. That's another thing that I see too that drives me insane when people are like, oh yeah, go do that. And then they go do that and then they're like, the fuck, why did you do that? And you're like, because you said I could. Yeah.
No,
And I experienced that once.
Right.
There was a guy, you know, and I was like, I mean, you know, obviously, like I told you I was doing this, and he was like, and then he got upset at me, and I was like, I'm not putting up with that.
Yeah, no.
That's so, yeah. So you guys have been healthy and mature and like so good, and I'm very proud.
Oh, thank you. I'm proud of us too. And I'm flattered that you're proud of us. Oh my God. It is. Sorry.
There you
But yeah. Thank you. that was our wrap up.
Yeah. All right. So Steph, for anyone that wants to find you, plug yourself.
I guess it's weird to plug myself. That's not my podcast. You could follow Stephanie Megan, or you can go to aromatherapy.com. All that shit is there. Links down below, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'll link it.
Yeah.
And you guys know where to find us at Cammy Nikki at Double Team Podcast on Instagram, TikTok, or our website, doubleteampodcast.com. It's got everything you need. Check out our links. Go support the OF because my cat just had to have teeth pulled. That was expensive. And we will see you guys next time. Don't forget, wear condoms.
Love your love.